Hello and welcome to my channel Making Crafts, and welcome to the Not Too Shabby Shop and Pear Blossom Press Collaboration Hop. So the Pear Blossom Press and the Not Too Shabby Shop are collaborating this month, and so I have quite a few products I want to show you from both of the shops, and then we'll get started on the card. So the first thing I want to show you is this ephemera pack, and I'm trying to find the name. It is full of ephemera and it's called Cozy Christmas. Then we also have the enamel dots, and so these are the, let me see if I can find the name, the Vintage Christmas Charm. I love the enamel dots. And then here are some clear stamps, and they have all kinds of greetings on these stamps, and I will show you in a few minutes what those stamps work with. I also have a Cozy Christmas paper pack, and all of this is the new release from the Not Too Shabby shop. And then we'll look at the dies in just a second. Here are the items from Pear Blossom Press. So here is a stamp set so that when you are using their lights, you have a push, pull, and different sayings to let you know what to do. And then this die cuts out, it can cut out the back of your card so that you can change the battery on your lights. And then I have a pack of the lights. So this is it has two small lights, and then it has the one halo light. I also have these shaker pouches which fit around the halo light, and I'll show you a little bit more about that in just a second. And then they also sent me this little gift, this ruler, and I'm excited to try that out as well. And so then we have the die set, and so this is a snow globe die set, and so you can make a large snow globe and a small snow globe, and the sentiments here all fit in the bottom of the large snow globe, and then the smaller sentiments will fit at the bottom of the smaller snow globe. And then these lights, the halo lights, they work perfect with the shaker rounds, as well as it works perfect with the small dies that make the small snow globe. The die set also has a little reindeer. It has a snowflake die. It also has like a little scene with the trees in the house, and then just like a snowbank type die that you can just cut out for your background. So this is the first time I've ever made a light up card, but I'm going to give it a try today and see what happens. So I did finally watch a tutorial by Lynn, LV Handcrafted, on the Pear Blossom Press channel, just to get an idea on how to do this. So what I'm going to do first though is I'm just going to start out making my snow globe. So you get two circle dies, well actually you get four circle dies in this die set. You get the larger ones and the smaller ones. So I'm going to be using the two larger ones. And so what I want to do is I just kind of want to center up that smaller one inside of the larger one so that I can make the frame for my snow globe. And so I just like to tape that with a little bit of washi tape. Now I do use just inexpensive washi tape for that so that it doesn't tear my paper. And then I have my frame. But I want to make this a little bit more sturdy than the paper that I'm using. So I have some cereal boxes in my craft room. So I'm going to cut the frame out of the cereal box as well. And I always like to turn it to the print down when I cut it, so that when I glue this together, you can't see any of that print when I add it to the other piece. So you can see here, I'll just add the glue to the back of my frame, and then I'll just glue that down onto the back of the cereal box so that all of those colors don't show through if I don't get it lined up perfectly. Also, if you have trouble lining it up, you can always go back and ink with whatever color frame that you're doing. I could have inked with brown ink, but I was able to get mine to line up pretty good. So I've gone ahead and used the die that has the house and the tree scene. And so what I'm doing is I just want to color in some of the images on this. So I want to color in the house and the tree. So I thought I would show you how I color in the tree. And what I'm doing is it's very simple coloring. I'm just adding a little bit of shading under the limbs to make it look more tree-like. And then I'll just come in with a darker color to kind of shade, and then a little bit lighter, and just blend it all out. And it's a very quick thing to color in. And once I get the tree shading like I like it, then I'm just coming back with my white gel pen and adding a little bit of snow on top of those branches. And then I'm going to go ahead and color in my house off camera. Okay, so While that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and I cut out another circle. I used the largest circle die for this circle, and this is going to be the background for my snow globe. So I'm pulling out some different color blues. I'm going to start with a lighter blue, and I'm just going to ink blend my circle to look like the kind of night sky. It's not going to be really dark. I'm just going to make it kind of like at dusk maybe. So I'm not going completely dark with it, but I am going to add some light blues, and then I'll come in with a little bit of navy and then a little bit of black around the edges just to make it look like a night sky. So this is my light blue color first, and you're just adding layers, so you don't have to get each layer completely smooth till the end. I like to add just a little bit of each color and then come back and blend it all together at the end. So then I just come in with a little bit more darker blue, and now I'm going to come in with my navy. All of these are different brand inks because I don't have that many of one brand. So I just sort of mix them all together to create my background. I'm all about using what I have because these ink pads have lasted me a lifetime, and so I just bring them out and use them, just the different ones that I have. So now I'm just bringing the navy in again, and I want it to be darker around the edges and lighter in the center. So I don't bring the navy all the way to the center. And it's all still not blended out, but I will blend it out at the end. So then I'm just going to come back in with a little bit more of the blue, just trying to make sure everything is blending together. And I'm using that lighter blue to blend all of my colors together. And now I'll come in with a little bit of black around the edge. Once I have the black added around the edge, then I'm just going to come back and blend in a little bit more with my blue ink, just so that everything kind of looks smooth and not splotchy. So then I'm just going to add a little bit of white splatters to the night sky. It can be stars or it could be the snow. I just like a little bit of white splatter in the background. I think it adds a little bit more to that night sky. Okay, so now I'm going to take my pieces. I've gone ahead and cut out the snowdrift background piece as well as the scene with the tree and the house. And so I'm just trying to figure out where I want that in my snow globe. And then in order to make everything line up nicely, what I'm going to do is I'm just figuring out where I want it. And then I'm going to run each one of these pieces through my die cutting machine using that largest die again, so that when I go to glue it together, everything just layers up nicely and I don't have to worry about lining the edges up. And so I'm just going to do that for both pieces. I'm going to do it for the little snowdrift piece as well as the scene with the tree and the house. So now today's collaboration is a hop, and so this is a giveaway hop. So there's going to be 2 winners from this hop. So look down in my description for the giveaway link so that you can enter for the giveaway. And there'll be 2 winners today. One winner will win $25 to the Pear Blossom shop, and one winner will, or Pear Blossom Press shop, and then one winner will win $25 gift certificate to the Not Too Shabby shop. So there'll be 2 winners. And those winners, look in my description for all the information on where that will be announced. That will not be announced on my channel. You'll need to go to their channels to find out who wins. And there's a date in my description as well that'll let you know when the giveaway ends. And I'm sorry, I just can't remember all of that information today. So just be sure to look in my description for all of the information. Okay, so here is the little light. I've gone ahead and added the battery in the light because I had been playing with it, just testing it out earlier. So I want the light to come through the little windows on my house. So I'm just testing it right now, holding the light up just to see how everything's going to look and trying to figure out which papers that I want to cut through in order for the light to come through. So I don't want the light to be super bright because those lights are really bright and they look really good bright on certain objects. For this house though, I wanted to have like a homely light glow, like a cozy glow. So I didn't want it to be too bright. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line my house up with the background piece, and I'm just going to mark where my windows are. So for the snowdrift piece, it's going to be behind it as well, but I want to use that to filter the light a little bit. So all I'm going to do is just mark on this background piece where my windows are. And then once I have all of the windows marked, I'm just going to come in with my awl, but you could use your pokey tool, whatever you have. Just be careful not to prick your finger on the back side. I'm going very slow with mine, so I can feel it on the back side, but I'm not poking hard. So you can just lay it down on something like a rubber mat or something to protect your hands, but just be really careful because these pieces are sharp. These little pokey tools and awls are sharp. That's why they go through the paper so easily. But I'm just going to use that to make my holes. Now I am making a hole for every window, and then I'll go through and make it larger, and then we'll test it to see if it works. So I have all of my holes poked through, and like I said, I want to use the snowdrift piece to filter the light a bit, and then I'm going to add my house on top. And I'm just testing it, but I feel like when I add the light here, I don't know that you can see because I have so many bright lights showing you what I'm working on, but I feel like that those holes are not enough because I can actually see those holes through, and they're not lining up perfect. So I think what I'm going to do is just go on the back of it, and I'm just going to cut a square out so that you get more of the glow. So now I'm just cutting out, I'm using those holes to help me get my scissors into the background piece, and then I'm just going to cut a little square out where the window holes were. I think that's going to help more light get in, and I don't want it filtered so much that you don't even see the glow. So I wanted the snowdrift to be my filter, but this one was also filtering it when I just made the holes. So I'm making a little square in it. You know, I could have used a die, a little bitty die. Even in that stamp set, in hindsight, when I'm looking back, there was a little circle die in that stamp set from Pear Blossom Press. I could have used that as well, but when I was creating this, I didn't think about it. So the thing that I was thinking was, this is going to be on the inside of the card. No one's ever going to see this cut up little square that I'm creating. And like I said, this is an experiment for me today. This is the first time that I've made a light up card. So I wanted to just give it a try. I was excited to be a part of this collaboration. Now I was a little nervous because I know that I am collaborating with a bunch of designers who are super talented, and so I know that their cards are going to be awesome, and I know a lot of them are used to using the lights, so they're going to have some awesome cards for you today. So I hope you will stick around and see my card, how it finishes out and how I complete it. But also be sure to hop along and see all of the other talented artists and designers in today's hop and see what they're creating with these lights and with this die set. So then I'll just attach this piece to my background piece, and like I said before, I'll take my finger and make sure I feel where the square is versus the windows so I can be certain that the light comes through. Oh, and I also forgot, I am going to add the door back. So when you cut out this tree and house piece, the little door gets left behind. So what I've done is I have just got that off of my mat, and I've colored it in with a dark gray to match the roof, and then I'm just going to add that there so that it has a little door. Now I'm going to go ahead and work on the rest of my snow globe. So I need to go ahead and stamp the sentiment that I want to put at the bottom of the snow globe. So I'm just going to use some gold cardstock for that. And I'm going to just stamp the Merry Christmas sentiment, and that one fits perfectly on the bottom of the snow globe. Then I'm just going to use the die to cut it out. And so this die is made to cut out the sentiment so that you can add it to the bottom of the snow globe. And I thought it would look cute to have like a goldish looking sentiment, like it's a gold plate on the snow globe. So I'm just going to tape that down over my sentiment, and then I'll run it through my machine and cut out the sentiment for the bottom of my globe. And then I'll layer it all up. And I did the same thing for the bottom of the globe. For the base, I cut it out of a piece of brown cardstock, and then I also cut it out a piece of cereal box so that everything's a little bit more sturdy and not floppy on the front of my card. You could just layer some foam on the back or layer a couple of sheets. This probably was a little bit too sturdy. I probably should have just layered 2 layers of cardstock, but I still like how it turned out. So once I have that glued together, then I'll just add the sentiment to the top. And you can see it fits perfectly in the center of the base. And now I'm just going to add the frame of my snow globe to my background piece or my scene piece. And so this is the point where if you want to make this a shaker card, you would need to add foam and need to add your acetate and make it your shaker card. I decided today that this would be great for a shaker card, but I decided today that I didn't want to create a shaker card. I just wanted to kind of do one thing at a time. The shaker card and the glow might have been too much for my brain today since I had never tried this whole light thing out, which I'll have to say, creating it for this light was fairly easy. And so I still have 2 more lights. So I have the halo light and then just the other one little light. So I'll have to create a few more cards this month and see what we can come up with these little lights. So here I have my globe put together. And so I've gone ahead and cut a piece of the Cozy Christmas paper. I've cut it to 4 by 5 1/4. That's going to be my background piece. So for my light, I'm going to be adding a piece of double-sided tape to both sides of the light. One will stick it to the paper on one side and then it'll stick it to the paper on the other side. So I was thinking I was going to add the light to the back of the snow globe and then attach that to my cardstock. But I realized that's not going to work. It's going to look kind of odd the way that it was going to set up. I guess I could have added foam tape, but I wasn't happy with that look. So I decided that I'm going to put the light behind the cardstock. So if I do that, then I've got to cut a hole in my cardstock as well. So I'm just going to try to line up where I think that I want the, or where I want the snow globe on my paper. And then I'm just going to hold and press where the windows are and kind of eyeball where that's going to be on the back of my paper. And so it's right in there on that snowflake. So now I'm just going to take my awl and get a hole pressed in there. And then I'm just going to trim out a little square again for my light to shine through. And so once again, no one's going to see this. It's going to be on the inside of the card. So now I'm making sure that I line my snow globe up where the hole is behind the house so the light will shine through. And so now I'm going to add foam tape to the back of my cardstock, and that way and then I'm also going to add the light to the back, and that way I'm going to layer it up on another piece of the Cozy Christmas paper. I'm just going to cut that piece to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And here I've just used the double-sided tape to attach the light to the back. And then I'm going to use the foam dots as well as the double-sided tape on the light to attach everything to my background piece. But I realized I forgot to put anything there where it tells you to push. So I'm going to pull out my stamp from Pear Blossom Press, and I'm going to hope that I don't mess it up, because I really would have liked to have stamped it while it was not attached to the card. But I'm going to give it a try because I totally forgot to put that on there. So I'm not sure that the recipient would know to push if I don't put it. So I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope this works. Now I am going to stamp off on another piece of paper before I do my first stamping, since these stamps have never been used before. It's always good to do a stamp off first on something else. So now I'm just going to hold my breath and try to put it right here on my card. Now it's actually a little lower than the actual button, but the way I put the card together, every time you push that spot, it cuts the light on. So I'm hoping that that will be enough there. Then I'm going to attach all of this to a craft color card base. And I did decide at the last minute that I wanted that craft color behind there. So this is not an A2 size card. It's a little larger. The card actually measures about 5 3/4 or 5 7/8 by 4 1/2. So it's just what I came up with. So I really like how it turned out, but I decided I want to add a little bit more red, because just that red house was not enough. We've got some greens on here and lots of browns, but no reds. So I cut out the snowflakes in red, and then I cut them out in white, and I'm just layering them on top of each other and just adding a couple to the front of this card. And then I turned off the light so you could see the glow, and I really love how this looks. I think that's just so cozy looking, and that was a lot of fun to create. I have learned quite a bit from it. So instead of just adding pieces of foam tape along the edges, I should have used a whole strip down both sides and across the top and bottom. That way the light didn't shine through when you push it. So it was a learning experience, but I had so much fun creating this card, and I really love how it turned out. So I hope that you will hop along to all of the other designers today and see what they're creating. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.